List of key equipment units. 1 unit for dump truck, plate compactor, concrete vibrator, 1 bagger mixer, bar cutter, bar bender, backhoe, welding machine, cutting outfit, and truck-mounted crane. Please take note of its corresponding capacities. Next project is 26GP0033, construction of concrete road, Sitio Lumboy, Barangay Linambasan, to Barangay Ganson, Barangay Haina, and Barangay San Juan to National Highway, in support of the Abacab industry, Capiz, from Station 8 plus 540 to Station 8 plus 701. Located at Barangay San Juan, Capiz. Implementing Office is the Capiz-Aklan District Engineering Office. Funding source is the FY 2026 General Appropriations Act, with an approved budget for the contract of 4,688,320 pesos. Scope of works, we have concreting of road with 300 mm thickness, line canal with side slope and metal guardrails with a total contract duration of 39 calendar days. For the major category of works, we have roads, construction, PCCP. For the similar categories of work, we have roads, rehabilitation, PCCP, and roads, construction, tunnel, PCCP. For the list of key personnel, 1 key personnel for each position: the project manager, project engineer, project inspector, materials engineer 1, safety officer and foreman with 5 years of minimum years of total work experience and same number of years for the minimum years of experience in similar works. For the list of key equipment units, 1 unit for backhoe wheel type, bulldozer, cargo truck, concrete spreader, 2 units for concrete vibrator, 2 units for dump truck, 1 unit for motorized road grader, 1 bagger mixer, payloader, vibratory roller, 2 units for water truck with pump, 2 units for water truck with pump. Please take note of its corresponding capacities. For the schedules for Capiz-Aklan DO projects, deadline for submission of clarification on March 20, 2026. Deadline for submission of bids on March 31, 2026. Number of copies of bid proposal, 1 original copy, technical and financial, envelope with speed. Place of submission of bids at bidding room, DPWH Regional Office 6, Fort San Pedro, Iloilo City. Under ISO 9001-2015, these requirements applies to bidders classified under the following Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB size range and are participating in the department's procurement of infrastructure projects and approved budget for the contract range to meet. For the PCAB size range, for large A, the allowable range of contract costs is more than 300 million but less than 450 million. The effectivity is January 1, 2025. For medium B, the allowable range of contract costs is more than 150 million but less than 300 million. The effectivity is July 1, 2025. Medium A, for the medium A size range, the allowable range of contract costs is more than 300 million but less than 150 million. The effectivity is January 1, 2026. As for large P contractors, as per ISO 900-1015, certification or its latest version shall continue to be required when participating in the bidding of infrastructure projects costing 300 million and above, as clarified through DO01 series of 2011, until revoked or superseded.
Preparation of bids. The first bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents, including the eligibility documents: PhilJEP Certificate of Registration, Platinum Membership, in accordance with Section 20 of the IRR, PCAB license and registration in case of joint venture, statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Statement of the bidder's SLCC in accordance with ITB Clause 5.5. The SLCC shall be supported by the owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the constructor's performance evaluation system, or CPES, or a similar performance and monitoring system. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. NFCC computation in accordance with ITV Clause 5.6, joint venture agreement if applicable, bid security in the prescribed form and amount in accordance with ITV Clause 16, and validity period under ITV Clause 15. Project requirements, which shall include the following: organizational chart of the personnel to be deployed for the procurement project to be bid, years of experience set in the BDS, list of contractors' personnel, example given: project manager, project engineer, project inspector, materials engineer, and foreman, to be assigned to the procurement project to be bid with their complete qualifications and experience data. These personnel must meet the required minimum years of experience set in the BDS. List of contractors' major equipment units which are owned, leased, or under purchase agreements supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of a project as the case may be, which must meet the minimum requirements for the contract set in the BDS and the IRR. Omnibus warrant statement in accordance with Section 54.3 of the IRR of RA 12009. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. The second bid envelope shall contain the financial bid form, which includes the bid prices and the bill of quantities, in accordance with ITB Clauses 13.1. The contract shall be for the whole works as described in the bidding documents based on the price bill of quantity submitted by the bidder. The bidder shall fill in rates and prices for all items of the works described in the bill of quantities. In case partial bids are allowed in the ITB, bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including where applicable, the bill of quantity shall be considered non-responsive and shall be automatically disqualified. In this regard, where a required item is provided but no price is indicated, the same shall be considered as non-responsive, but specifying a zero or a dash for the said item would mean that it is being offered for free to the government, except those required by law or regulations to be provided for. For the given scope of work and the contract is awarded, all bid prices shall be considered as fixed prices and therefore not subject to price escalation during contract implementation, except under extraordinary circumstances as specified in GCC Clause 45. Bid currencies. All bid prices shall be quoted in Philippine peso unless otherwise provided in the BDS. However, for purposes of bid evaluation, bids denominated in foreign currency shall be converted to Philippine currency based on the exchange rate as published in the BSP Daily Reference Exchange Rate Bulletin on the day of the bid opening. Bid validity. Bids shall remain valid for the period specified in the BDS, which shall not exceed 120 calendar days from the date of the opening of bids. Should it become necessary to extend the validity of the bids and the bid securities beyond 120 calendar days, the procuring entity concerned shall request in writing all those who submitted bids for such extension before the expiration date therefor. Bidders, however, shall have the right to refuse to grant such extension without forfeiting their bid security. The bidder, at its option, shall submit a bid security in the form and amount as stated in the BDS, which may include the following. The bidder shall submit a bid security declaration or any form of bid security enumerated below. Cash or cashier's manager's check issued by a universal or commercial bank. The amount of bid security not less than % of the ABC is 2%. Bank draft, guarantee or irrevocable LC issued by universal or commercial bank, 5%. Surety bond callable upon demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security is 5%. Format and signing of bids. Bidders shall submit their bids through their duly authorized representative using the appropriate forms provided on or before the deadline specified in the ITB Clause 19 in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes which shall be submitted simultaneously, whether through manual or online submission. The first shall contain the technical component of the bid, including the eligibility requirements under ITB Clause 12, and the second shall contain the financial component of the bid. Forms as mentioned in ITB Clause 17.1 must be completed without any alterations to their format. No substitute form shall be accepted. Each and every page of the bid form, including the bill of quantities under Section 9 hereof, shall be signed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Failure to do so shall be a ground for the rejection of the bid. Any insertions, erasures, or overwriting shall be valid only if they are signed or initialed by the duly authorized representatives of the bidder. Sealing and marking of bids. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents described in ITB Clause 12 in one sealed envelope marked Technical Component, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked Financial Component, sealing them all in an outer envelope marked Bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representative. All envelopes shall contain the name of the contract to be bid in capital letters. Bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters. It should be addressed to the procuring entity's BAC in accordance with ITB Clause 18.1. It should bear the specific identification of this bidding process indicated in the ITB Clause 1.1, and it should bear a warning, do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with ITB Clause 19. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted, provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission shall be rejected. The bank shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improperly sealed or marked bid, or for its premature opening. Submission and opening of bids. Deadline for submission of bids. Bids must be received by the procuring entity's bank at the address indicated in the IP on or before the date and time indicated in the BDS. Late bids. Bids including the eligibility requirements submitted after the deadline shall be rejected by the bank. The bank shall record in the minutes of the meeting the submission and opening of the bids, the bidder's name, its representative, and the time the late bid was submitted. Modification and withdrawal of bids. Bidders may modify their bids before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. The bidder shall not be allowed to retrieve the original bid, but shall only be allowed to submit the bid modification by sending another bid, equally sealed, properly identified, linked to its original bid, and marked as the modification thereof and stamped received by the bank. Bid modifications received after the applicable deadline shall not be considered and shall be returned to the bidder unopened. Bidders may withdraw their bids in writing before the deadline for submission and receipt of bids. Withdrawal of bids after the applicable deadline shall be subject to appropriate sanctions as prescribed in the IRR. Bidders may also express their intention not to participate in the bidding in writing, which should be received by the bank before the deadline for submission and receipt of bids. Bidders that withdraw their bid shall no longer be allowed to submit another bid for the same contract, directly or indirectly. No bid may be modified after the deadline for submission and receipt of bids. Further, no bid may be withdrawn in the interval between the deadline for submission and receipt of bids and the expiration of bid validity specified by the bidder in the financial bid form. Withdrawal of bid during this interval shall result in the forfeiture of the bidder's bid security pursuant to ITB Clause 16.5 and the imposition of administrative sanctions as prescribed by RA number 12009 and without prejudice to the imposition of civil and criminal sanctions as provided under applicable laws. Alternative bid shall be rejected. For this purpose, alternative bid shall pertain to an offer made by a bidder in addition or as a substitute to its original bid, which may be included as part of its original bid or submitted separately. A bid with options shall likewise be considered an alternative bid regardless of whether said bid proposal is contained in a single envelope or submitted in two or more separate bid envelopes. Bidders shall submit offers that comply with the requirements of the bidding documents, including the basic technical design as indicated in the drawings and specifications. Unless there is a value engineering clause in the BDS, alternative bid shall not be accepted. Each bidder shall submit only one bid, either individually or as a partner in a JV. A bidder who submits or participates in more than one bid, other than as a subcontractor, if a subcontractor is permitted to participate in more than one bid, will cause all the proposals with the bidder's participation to be disqualified. This shall be without prejudice to any applicable criminal, civil, and administrative penalties that may be imposed upon the persons and entities concerned. Common reasons for rejection of bids, ineligibility, and post-disqualification of bidders. Failure to submit the original copy of the surety bond certified by the Insurance Commission indicating the name of project, the procured entity, and the name of contractor. Shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Overlapping of pledged equipment and committed key technical personnel. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bid. Failure to submit supporting documents, example given, certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project if equipment pledge is to be leased or purchased. Negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Unsatisfactory CPAS rating. For a single proprietor, signatory should be the owner or proprietor only. For a corporation and cooperative, board secretary certificate and board resolution. Joint venture resolution or agreement, and for partnership as indicated in the Articles of Partnership. Evaluation and comparison of bids, process to be confidential. Members of the BAC, its staff and personnel, Secretariat, and TWG, as well as observers, are prohibited from making or accepting any communication with any bidder regarding the evaluation of their bids until the issuance of the notice of award unless otherwise allowed in the case of ITB Clause 24. Any effort by a bidder to influence the procuring entity in the procuring entity's decision in respect of bid evaluation, bid comparison, or contract award will result in the rejection of the bid. The financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The bank shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. For completeness, no price in required item, non-responsive, indicating a zero or a dash, free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including where applicable BOQ, shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. For arithmetical corrections, bid prices and figures versus words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price per item, unit price prevails. Total price versus actual sum of component items, actual sum prevails. Unit cost and detailed estimate versus unit cost in BOQ, BOQ prevails. If above ABC, disqualified. Post-qualification, the bidder within a non-extendable period of 5 calendar days from receipt of notice from the bank that it submitted the lowest calculated bid shall submit all the eligibility documents supporting its PhilJEF certificate of registration, platinum membership, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should not be earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bid, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the BDS. Failure to submit any of the post-qualification requirements on time or a finding against the veracity thereof shall disqualify the bidder for award, provided that in the event that a finding against the veracity of any of the documents submitted is made, it shall cause the forfeiture of the bid's security. Verification, validation, and ascertainment of statements made and documents submitted. Legal requirements, licenses, certificates, permits, agreements, and exclusion in any blacklist. For technical requirements, key personal minimum work experience requirements should be satisfied. Availability and commitment of major construction equipment. Failure of the prospective bidder to state the complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location, whether owned, lease, or under purchase agreement, shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award of contract and forfeiture of its bid security per VO number 58, series of 2012. Technical requirements, performance and ongoing government and private contracts, negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of 2 or more contracts, failure of the contractor to commence repair works and complete ongoing contracts in the prescribed date after receipt of the notice of defects and deficiencies, failure of the contractor to commence repair works of contracts with pending certificates of acceptance in the prescribed date after receipt of the notice of defects and failures, substandard quality of works, or unsatisfactory performance per contract per conditions at the term of inspection. Strict application of DO number 127, series of 2018, in the conduct of the post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. Technical requirements, authenticity and correctness of bid security, financial requirements, bid price proposal and NFCC, notes on the personal and equipment requirements of the project as per DO number 9, series of 2012 on technical requirements for civil works projects for public bidding, If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and he or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications certified by the head of the implementing office. Technical requirements. The bidder may propose a key technical personnel who is not its employee, provided that the said personnel is required to submit a certification that he or she will work for the bidder if it is awarded the contract under bidding. These certifications shall be included in the first envelope of the sealed bid. Also to be verified during post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidder should specify in the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any equipment is not in the specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. Contract award. The contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid, and as a result of the detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award should be made within the bid validity period. The performance security shall be in the form selected by the procuring entity in the amount indicated in the BDS, which shall not be less than the percentage of the total contract price in accordance with the following price schedule. Form of performance security. Cash or cashier's manager's check issued by a universal or commercial bank. The amount of performance security not less than the percentage of the total contract price is 10%. For bank draft, guarantee, or revocable LC issued by a universal or commercial bank, 10%. Surety bond, callable upon demand, issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security, 30%. The performance security shall be denominated in Philippine peso and posted in favor of the procuring entity, which shall be forfeited in the event it is established that the winning bidder is in default in any of its obligations under the contract.
So reminder, the bidder should state all of their statement of all ongoing and just awarded projects with supporting documents to enable the bank to fully determine its financial capacity. The bidder must be legally, financially, and technically capable to undertake the contract. No taking of pictures, audio, or video recording within the bidding room at any given circumstances. So may I ask if there are any questions or clarification from the participants? That's all. So there being none, I hereby declare the private conference adjourned. Thank you.